Hello friends, listeners who listens to me in English language. This will be a lecture comparing keyboards, English language keyboard, maybe Italian, English, Latin keyboard with Russian keyboard lettering. If you listen to my lecture, you will be awarded. Patience is always awarded. Why awarded? Rewarded. Rewarded. Because patience is always rewarded and impatience is often punished by something. Okay, guys, so what we have here is just general knowledge that English alphabet has 26 letters, Russian alphabet has 33 letters. So I'm going to explain to you what is very easy here and obvious, and what are difficulties. And if you just listen to this lecture, then after that, if you are in the situation where you do not have Russian lettering, Russian keyboard, you, with this chit chat, you print it out, from here. With this chit chat picture, you will be able to type Russian there. To type Russian, yes, you have to be in the Russian keyboard website, which is easy to find there. They have international keyboards, a site which is nowadays is very easy to find anything online. And when you are there, then you still will have your English keyboard in front of you, but you will switch that Russian and you will know what is what stands for what letter stands for what. Not in all situations we have, switch for Russian lettering. Yeah. So what I'm showing here is our general English keyboard. And the first row starts with Q, okay, with Q. Latin keyboard letters are of dark blue color. Q, W, the first row. Q, W, R, Y, U, I, P. Russian lettering is in magenta color, which is dark pink color. However, because we have 33 letters in Russian, in the first row, on the top of Q row, I will call it Q row, the first row of letters, we will have turquoise, bright color. In the end, after English Latin alphabet letter P, we have 3 more Russian letters in turquoise color, which you see are at the Latin alphabet square bracket, U, sh, and backslash e. So those are 3 letters. Separately, we will discuss them little bit more. In the second row, which is Latin alphabet, is A, letter A, and in Russian, of course, it's A. In the end, we have bright green color, soft sign, so-called in Russian alphabet in the second row, which is in Latin alphabet semicolon. You see the same letter, semicolon, and zh. Zh. In English, we don't have this consonant, but we do have it. We don't have it expressed in writing in Latin alphabet. Pleasure, measure. Yes, we have the sound in English language, but we have to express it with a few letters. In Russian, we have the letter for that. Zh looks like insect, you see. So in Russian, beetle is zhuk, and I always, when I teach Russian, I say, look, this is like a beetle, like zhuk, like insect, zh. Okay, and now let's fly on to the top, extreme left, and let's look at what you see as vowel English letter E. In other languages, we say E. In Russian, we say ye, and this one with 2 dots on the top, which is in German called umlaut. In Russian, we don't call that. I do call that for convenience, because I studied a few languages and I use what is convenient. Yes, so this yo, letter yo, which is very tricky one. I have presented a few lectures on it in a few of my books and in different places. Yeah, tricky one. Why? Right away, I will tell you that we don't mark it in the writing, in literature, in written texts. You will not have letter yo. You will not see it there. You will in some text, in rare, not. But a Russian person knows when it is correct to pronounce it. Yes. So this is a knowledge. Like, for example, I teach now in one class English phrasal verbs: look out, look up, look in, into, and so on and so forth. These are English phrasals, which is the verb and preposition behind, and they have different meanings. So the same is here. You look at ye without 2 dots on the top, but Russian will know where to pronounce ye, where to pronounce yo, because, that bunch of vocabulary is in our heads, as are English phrasal verbs in the heads of, let's say, Americans. Mm-hmm. Okay, so right away we see that yo, we need it sometimes, and it's right there in the row of the numbers on the top, where you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. And in front of that you have yo on the same key, where is what looks like in French we call accent grave. They have 2 accents in French, accent aigu and accent grave, on the top of vowels, which are don't have any kind of rules or order. You have to remember them too in French language. So this one, who is not familiar with French language, it looks like apostrophe, but directed the other side, right? Not regular apostrophe. No, actually apostrophe is straight. Yeah, this one is inclined. Yes, and for me it goes down, because if to go, clockwise direction, it goes down, right? Directed down. So this is letter yo on the top over there. And then in the back of those numbering on the top, since we are here with letter yo now, let's go to the back of the numbering on the top, and let's look at where we have equals mark on Latin alphabet keyboard. This is Russian твердый знак. Твердый знак translates as hard sign. This is not a very frequent letter in Russian vocabulary, but we do have it in some even frequently used words, like, for example, объявление, объект, announcement. You will have to write твердый знак, because it separates, объявление separates consonant from the next one, я, not to merge them together, like, bya is not correct, bya is different, b, ya, we need to separate them. How? With this hard sign. Also, when you look at this hard sign and you think philosophically, you would understand that Russian old style writing, which is before Soviet era. Soviet era was lasting for 70 years. So before that, Tsar's times, we had pre-Soviet Russian writing, which was a lot like with those, tails directed back, like this твердый знак, hard sign looks. And I marked this hard sign and look in the second row of the keyboard, which starts with English letter A and Russian A. Look in the end of it, you will see мягкий знак. After Latin L, the last key of letters in the second row, you will see мягкий знак, which is soft sign. So they are brother and sister, right? Soft sign and hard sign. There are two signs. Others are letters, vowels or consonants. So these are signs which are directly doing the function of softening or hardening or separating. We call разделительный твердый знак. We have in grammar such names as dividing hard sign or dividing soft sign, and in that case this sign will be doing the function exactly of dividing, consonant letters, so you pronounce it different way. Russians are logical people, so we try to name things with their names, and so it's helpful. Okay, so with two pink diamond shape diamonds, I marked these two signs on the top and in the second row. Твердый знак и мягкий знак, hard sign and soft sign. Okay, now let's go to the first row. Yes, also before we start that, let's look, they are very bright. Как бы in Russian I say как бы, in English, as if they are jumping into your eyes. They are bright red color. Let's look at those letters. Let's count them. In the first row we have, I will pronounce in Russian now, E, T, O. In English they will be E, T, O. In the second row we have two of them, bright red color. We have A and K in English. Pronounced in Russian we have A, K. Two letters. And in the third row, in the bottom row, we have X English and M English, red color, and Russian H, like in English hot or heat or hang out, H. English X consonant and English M consonant, in Russian letter M. The same. So these are bright red color. They stand for the same letters in the both alphabets, in Latin and in Russian. Ye, English we pronounce letter E, in Russian ye will be the same key. So I didn't put the second, I did not repeat the same thing two times. Instead I made them bright red color. You know that they hit the same letter in the both alphabets, English and Russian, right? Ye, you need Russian ye, this is your ye, this is English E in the first row. You need Russian or English T, Russian T. You have the same key, you hit the same key in the middle of the first upper row. You need English O or Russian O vowel, and you will hit that O. Yes, in the second row, again, English A or Russian A, and this is the first red letter in the second row. K, it's pre-last letter, you need English K or Russian K, it's the same on the keyboard. And in the third, in the bottom row, you have X, English, H, Russian, consonant H, for example, художник, artist. And M, you have English M and Russian M. So these red ones, they are very easy because you see they are the same. Others may be different. Those which are marked, again, by me with yellow, underlining yellow, they are also easier because they stand for the same sound. Look at the first underlined with yellow letter in the first row, in the upper row of the three. Look at that. It is Latin R. In English we pronounce R. In Italian it will be R. Russian magenta color, bright pink color is R. So this is Russian consonant R. So these are easier because they still stand for the same sounds. Again, in the first row, we have in front of O, we have which letter. English we pronounce, in English alphabet we pronounce I, the name of the letter I. But in Spanish, we will pronounce it E, and this is what is in Russian, E, magenta. So in front of O, we have E, marked with yellow because it's easy. Russian E and English E. If you read it Spanish, it's E, or Italian, it will be E, okay? I is just the name in English alphabet of the letter. In German, everywhere it will be E. The next one, yellow in the first row, which is the last letter of the upper row or first row, is Latin P and Russian P, which is the same consonant sound, P, like in English, peak or pot or park, anything like that. And in Russian, the same, park. P. So I underline them yellow because they stand for the same sound and still easier to remember on the keyboard. In the second row, we have the first yellow, we see English D, ABCD, D, and Russian D. I always say it looks like a little bit like a house on the legs, and in the Russian, sure enough, it's dom in Russian house. So it's Russian D, yellow. The next yellow is English F, Russian F. Fyodor, for example, name, quite old name, Fyodor. The next one is G, which is in English alphabet G, and in Russian G, the same, like in English got, get, the same sound will be G. In Russian gusi, geese, goose. G, I always say to students who study Russian that it looks like to hang people. Letter G, Russian consonant G. The next one, yellow, underlined yellow, which is the last underlined yellow in the second middle row, is English L, and sure enough, it's Russian L, the same consonant. For example, in English word little, luck, loose, or in Russian look, onions, lavanda, the same in English, lavanda, in Russian lavanda. All, okay, so they are the same consonant, all. And now we are looking at the bottom row, and we have here Latin alphabet Z, the first letter of my name, Zoya, Z. In Russian, it's Z, again, the first letter of my name, Zoya, also looks like number 3, it's Russian Z. The next underline yellow in the third row, in the bottom row, is English English V, in Spanish vaca. Why in Spanish vaca? It's in Spanish vaca is a cow, in English cow. Because in Spanish we confuse verb, and this is always kind of a lot of fun when explaining sounds, because it's vaca burro, it's cow and donkey. But they confuse the sound, and when you're in Spanish, you already start pronouncing like that. Yeah, so Latin V, Russian V. It's Russian V. For example, the name Victor in English will be Victor, in Spanish will be Victor, and in Russian will be Victor, the same thing. The next yellow is B in English, A, B, C, D, B. Latin alphabet, dark blue color, and magenta color, B. Russian, the same consonant, B. In English will be book. In book, the first letter, the first consonant, and in Russian will be B. What is B? Not bad word, no. In Russian, I don't know, nothing comes to mind. B. Babushka, babushka is grandmother. Babushka. B. So B, the same, yes. And yellow, the next is the last one here in the third row, will be English N, like in English not, need, never, N. And in Russian will be the same consonant N, like in Russian word нет, which is no, and so on. So underlined yellow again are easy, which stand for the same exact sounds in the both languages, English and Russian. And then now I will go from the beginning to the end of each row, which is we are in the first row now. Q, we will start with Q. I will pronounce Latin alphabet English letters at first in the first row. Q, W, R, Y, U, I, P. In Russian, where Q is ya, for example, Russian pronoun ya is I am, ya. So this is so you remember when you are in Russian mode, in internet, you still need to know what to hit with to have Russian letter ya, right? So this is Q, English Q. The next is W, is Russian sh, like in shar, balloon, sh. And English is W, like in water, what, where, and Russian shar, shari, shipit, sh. The next is red color, yeah. The next is R and P, we discussed that. And the next is T, red color. And the next is English Y, and it's Russian difficult to pronounce usually for English speakers. Very long time difficult to pronounce because you have to practice it and be corrected by a Russian person to pronounce it correctly. So many times, but at the same time, it's a very frequently used letter, which is vowel We can say E, and it's pair, it's hard pair If a pair of vowels, we also have pairs, logical pairs. So E and your lower jaw is a little bit kind of protruded to have that sound and air goes freely, yes, E and So this is where letter Y is, we have this Why it is frequently used? Because we have it in a bunch of personal pronouns. Ты, мы, вы. In three of them we have this letter. So you do want or you don't want, you need to pronounce it to be able to pronounce it. Ты. You cannot say you. In Spanish, tú is easy to pronounce, right? Tú. But in Russian it's ты. So how are you going to say ti? No, that's very soft. That's a wrong syllable. So you have to say ty. Then polite in Spanish will be usted, ustedes. And in French we have polite you. And in German we have polite you. So in Russian we have polite вы, or plural, ustedes in Spanish, вы, you, plural. Also, how are you going to pronounce vi? No, it's different, completely sound. You may be not understood. Yes, so you have to say вы. So this is letter vowel We have to learn how to pronounce it if you want to deal with Russian language. The next one is Latin U. We pronounce in English alphabet U. Russian magenta color is U. In Spanish language, of course, it will be U, and Russian U. So this is also logical letter. I did not underline it with yellow. Why? Because Russian U will be confused with the previous Latin alphabet Y, and this is a little bit of confusion. So that's why it's not very logical when you look visual observation. It's not very logical. So that's why I didn't underline with yellow. With yellow are underlined very logically the same sounds. This one can cause confusion. That's why I did not underline this, okay? So this is English U, Spanish U, and other languages French and U, Italian U, but Russian is this how we U, vowel U, the same. The next is underline EE. We discussed that with yellow. The next is red. We discussed that. The next yellow, P for English and P for Russian. We discussed that it looks Russian P looks like gate. Yes, gate, or where you can exercise. For me, it's like a frame, hard metal frame where the person can go and exercise the hanging on his arms and so on. Okay, so this is Russian P, like in Papa. Papa, father. The second row starts with English A, Russian A vowel. The next letter is in the circle, in the blue circle. You see blue circles, two of them, one in the second row and one in the third row. Let's look at them now, and both. One in the second row stands for English S and Russian S. The sound is the same in English, like in English we say soon or sage, anything in English S starts, and in Russian anything with S, Sasha, in Russian Sam, Sami, anything in Russian S. And why did I put them in circles, these two? Look at them. Latin, the same, visually the same, and Russian, Latin C and Russian S. However, Russian is where in the third row, Latin C, Russian is C. Letter C, like in цвет, color, цветы, flowers, C. We have this sound in English. We don't have special letter for that. In English, we will say pizza, which is borrowed from Italian, and pizza, plaza, borrowed from Spanish plaza word. So we have the sound in English language, but we don't have special letter for that. In Russian, we do have special letter for that, which is in the third row, where Latin letter C is A, B, C, C is Russian C. It looks like, again, the gate upside down and little tail hanging down, like dog's tail hanging down. This is letter C, which are frequently used words in Russian language. Цвет, color. Well, in any culture, цвет, you use it as you need it. C. But цветы, flowers. Women love flowers, so цветы would be like something frequently what you look at or use or work at your home with in your backyard or something. C. So this is Russian C. And the second circled in the second row one more time, Latin dark blue color S and Russian S sound. In Russian name, Alexander, short Sasha, or Alexandra for a woman. Alexandra, also short variant, will be Sasha, S. And English sitting, any word starts with S consonant. So you see, maybe confusion between them too. And I have a student of many years, lately, not very often, but still, who studies Russian, and he has a PhD. American, he's an American, he has PhD degree, and he pronounces Russian beautifully, very well. However, he still confuses C, doesn't quite understand always C. I don't know, the concept is not easy for him to grasp for some reason, that C is a separate consonant, C, not paired consonant. We don't have pairs to that, because pairs we have to звонкие, глухие, to I forgot in English now how to say звонкие, глухие, loud and quiet, not but something like that, loud and quiet. some of them not paired. Many of them are paired. Russian, we have Russian paired consonants. English are the same. They just don't pair them in English logically. They don't do that, which when I explain sounds, I do that in my classes because it's easier to understand for a person. Everything what is logical is easier for the human brain to grasp and to remember than anything what presented in non-logical manner. And then I am sure everybody understands that concept, right? Yes. So when we teachers explain something, we try to find as much logic as possible, because the next human brain to whom you are explaining will be easier. We will have easier time to understand that. So we were in the second row where we were stuck at this blue circle. So one more time, it is Latin S and Russian S consonant. And the next three yellow, I explained before, they will be easy. They would stand for the same sound. They are on the keyboard at the same place. The next one after English G and Russian G, the next one is English or Latin alphabet H, English pronunciation H, letter H. And Russian, it is Ch, also not paired. It's not paired consonant, Ch. The sounds are everywhere in all languages. However, for example, in Spanish language, no, the other way. In Spanish language, they don't have sh, they do have ch, cha, cha, cha. They do have that ch. Yeah. So Russian ch looks like chair upside down. Also, I explain when I explain this Russian letter. Is paired here with English H. Not much logics unless English H pronunciation is, who knows both Russian and English H finishes with exactly ch, and this is Russian ch. Maybe that's how they placed it. Designers of those, keyboards. Yes, and the next one is English J, like jot, jotting, jet, jolly, joyful in the words. And Russian is Y. It's hard to pronounce because it is present in Russian words in the ending. Like, for example, хороший, плохой, it's in the ending of adjective. In English, there is the sound. Boy, toy, Y. This is the last sound. So this is not vowel and not a consonant. In English language, we have Y, which also we can put in the category which is not vowel and not a consonant. So this is Russian Y, which looks like Russian E, and with little bird on the top. So this is frequently used because in all masculine adjectives you will have it in the end. Oi, a, also interjections, you see, all of them have that. Oi, a, I. Well, I is a little bit different. Y. Anyway, we have a separate letter in the alphabet, so it's Y. And they placed it here with J, together with J. The next is very obvious red color K, Russian K. And the next L we explained already. And in the third row in the bottom, on the bottom we have Z, Russian Z. The next red H, Russian, X, Latin alphabet. The next, I already explained, two circled with blue. This will be Latin C and Russian C. The next will be three yellow marked with yellow. Russians, they will be V, B, N. English, V, B, and N. And the last is M. Now let's look one more time at those bright green color. In the end of the second row, the first is soft sign, and you cannot pronounce, this is a sign. You will hear only this sign paired with consonant, which it makes softer. For example, if you say brat without soft sign for letters b, r, a, t, brat, then it is brother, translated from Russian language. However, if you put to this brat, brother, brat, to these 4 letters, if you put soft sign in the end, you will have the infinitive of Russian, and in any culture, in any language, very popular word which we use many times a day, brat, to take, brat. Okay, so very easy example, which I always, of course, mention, brat, brother, in Russian brat. If you put to that brat Russian soft sign in the end, you will have now the infinitive to take, brat, and you have to pronounce it in the end now very soft, t, soft sign, t. Also need to practice desirably with Russian speaker to pronounce that beautifully, brat. And after that, so it will be on the same key with semicolon in Latin keyboard, and the next after it goes, I already also talked about it, zh, which is in English pleasure, measure, something with zh, we have the sound, Russian zh. Жаба is toad in Russian language, the, like frog, the one who is like frog. Toad, yes, toad. Or toad. Жаба in Russian, and жук, beetle in Russian, ж. Жужжать, it's the sound, zh, which they make these insects, heavy insects, big insects, the same Russian consonant, zh. It is paired. It's not only paired, actually it's tripled, because it's sibilant. Sibilant means when we pronounce this sh, zh, these kind of sounds, means sibilant. And we have them, 3 of them. We have one, when you see in Latin alphabet W, you see sh, zh, a little bit more quiet, soft is sh, without the voice. With voice, zh, without voice, sh. The same muscles, the same place in your muscles in the mouth when you pronounce it, zh and sh, okay? And the third one, why do I say triple? Because the third one is in turquoise color, middle letter of the 3 is sh. So here we have 3 of them, zh, bright green. Near W, you have sh. The next one, and the softest one with the tail down is sh. Still softest. So Russian sh and sh are approximately like English bad word, which starts with sh, but English bad word still not as soft as Russian letter with tail down sh. So that one is the softest. So we have all 3 of them letters. Again, they are not paired, there are 3 of them like that. And again, now go up to turquoise color in the end of the first row. And one more time about these 3. U is, in English, we have the name of letter U. In Russian, we have separate letter vowel U. I can say hard is U, and soft paired vowel is U, which makes good sense, okay? Not for English. Not for English speakers, because for English speakers, good sense only will make U, the letter U. STU, this part of the Latin alphabet, English alphabet, U, and for English speakers, them good sense will make personal pronoun you. You are my friend, right? You. And so this is Russian vowel U, which is in the keyboard with the bracket faced east, open to the east. Okay, square bracket. And sh, Russian sh, turquoise color here, with a square bracket faced west Pacific Ocean. Well, I'm in USA, so for me it will be West Pacific Ocean. Open the square bracket. And the last in English, pronunciation, we have very frequently used sound. Man, pen, mat, anything with e. So this is Russian e. We have separate letter for that. It is paired with Russian vowel ye, which you see in red color in the first row. English e, name of the letter. It is paired when I say ye or when I say e. So still I am ye. When I sing ye, I will finish with e. So they are a pair. Yeah, okay. When I'm singing that, I finish with that. The same pair will be ya, Russian ya, and a, because when I sing ya, I will finish with a. And so they are pairs, okay? Okay, thank you very much for listening to me. I hope this lecture was helpful, especially for people who study Russian or who are in the situation where you have Latin keyboard but no Russian marks on that keyboard, marks of Russian letters, and you can go to online and find that Russian keyboard and make sense of typing Russian without having marks on your English keyboard. Thank you very much for listening to me. I am Zoya Eliseyeva, in Russian Yeliseyeva. In Russian, I have patronymic from my father, Vladimirovna, Zoya Vladimirovna Yeliseyeva, which English speakers don't care about. English speakers care only about my name, Zoya Eliseyeva, we pronounce. And thank you very much for listening to me. Today is November 9th, Sunday. I'm in California and it is 8 o'clock in the morning. Have a happy Sunday, everybody who listened to me. Because those who didn't listen to me, they don't know that I wish my happy Sunday to everybody. Thank you. Bye.